Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Adam Tinkleman, and with me tonight I have student filmmaker Jack Graham. Jack, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me, Adam.
Well, Jack, I think the first thing I wanted to ask you is what first inspired you to be a filmmaker? Why do you want to make movies?
Ooh, that's a good one. I was about 10 years old, and my dad was showing me Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's a good one.
Said, Dad, I want to do what Indiana Jones does. And he was like, archaeologists don't have that much fun. And so I chose filmmaking. Yeah.
Wow, you were introspective as a kid, huh?
Yeah, very, yeah.
Now, what do you think about the new Indiana Jones coming out?
Well, I'm really excited. A lot of the effects look really impressive. The de-aging technology is only getting better with time.
Mm-hmm.
And who doesn't like anything Lucasfilm makes?
Who doesn't like Indiana Jones?
Look at him, Harrison Ford, he's great.
Well, and it has actually come to my attention that you are currently making a film. Is that correct?
Yes, I am, and it's been quite the process, I'm going to be honest. Yeah,
I'm sure it couldn't have been easy.
No, but it was the good kind of hard. You know, the kind of, it was difficult, but I like getting through the challenges.
Do you mind giving us a little bit of detail about what it's actually about, the plot?
So it's a coming-of-age comedy. It's about a guy named Chuck who just can't get over his girlfriend. So his friend Cooper brings him out on St. Patty's Day to try and show him a good time. And the first party they go to, they run into the ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend, who's just Mr. Perfect. And Chuck spends the rest of the day getting in his own way as they go through a bunch of parties, including a mud fighting party with a gorilla. Yeah.
Well, did you say a gorilla? I'm sorry, I don't know
yeah, I said a gorilla. You may have seen him around in the past year or so. He likes running about, usually has a buddy or two with him.
So I need to know where this idea came from. There had to have been some spark for such a creative thing.
It was actually based off of something that happened to me at high school, during high school.
This is a good story, I can tell.
It has gotten exaggerated. There was no gorilla in real life, unfortunately. But it was just about me at a party that got busted, and I had to run away. Yeah.
You ran away from a party?
Yeah, it was more like a scurry and then a hide under a porch for like an hour and a half. It was St. Patrick's Day, though.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That's something I kept.
So that's another thing I've always been curious about. So how much would you say real life kind of bleeds into this work that you do? Like, what kind of inspirations do you take?
So for this movie, a lot of it doesn't center, but it takes place around parties and party environments. So there were a lot of little things that had happened to me throughout my college career that I did implant into it. Like, for instance, my producer and my DP, Angelo Fazio and Steph Scalamonia, over the summer we were at a party, and right as we were leaving, the cops showed up. Just drove right past us as we were walking away, and that's a scene that I incorporated into the film because I thought it was kind of funny that we got away that easy.
Well, life imitates art, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what they say.
Well, I think the first thing for most films is the script. You got to have a script, the breakdown of the scenes and what the characters say. Do you have any specific process when you are writing your script?
I gotta say, I spent a lot of this year figuring that out, because this has been the longest thing that I've written that I intended on making. So I started this one just by breaking it down into simple acts, and I kind of like to break down acts in just places where, so if I'm gonna explain, exposition always takes place in
where it starts.
Yeah, where it starts. And so I like to break up the exposition into at least 2 scenes because there's always stuff that the audience really just needs to know. And then Act 2 is usually just, I don't know, that's where the crazy part comes in. And Act 3 is, I always found Act 3 to kind of be the boring part because that's when you're wrapping things up. It's like the conclusion paragraph to an informative essay.
The falling action, you're kind of
Yeah, in every American Pie movie, it ends in a diner, and which is something I took for my movie.
Yeah. Well, so now that you have a script, right? You have your process, you've written most of it down. Now what you need is a crew, right? The people that help you run it. So what is your process for finding people that will help you really make the film?
Well, you got to find the balance between friends and people you can rely on. I was lucky enough to have 2 friends to start out this whole process with. Again, Angelo Fazio and Steph Scalamonia. They were the first 2 people in my crew that we had set from last summer. And then as soon as this semester began and we were all put into the class that this is for, which is the year-long class, we found the rest of our crew, which includes Mariana Fernandez, Sammy Stevens, and Mia Straum. And they have all been just absolute delights to work with.
Yeah, I imagine you have to be, working really close to these people for several months.
Yeah, we got pretty close pretty quick. We spent a lot of time together, and there's been everybody's fair share of frustrations, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. We're all still really good friends. I hope.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe not after this interview, but.
Oh yeah, oof, I ruined it.
Well, so obviously with a production of this size, you have to have a lot of good equipment, right? So that's lighting, cameras, and recording equipment. Is that all provided by Penn State, or did you have to get a lot of that yourself?
The majority, actually all of that's provided by Penn State. I have about 2 lights that I use myself, and they're only for when we need soft boxes, and it's not very often. So I have to thank you, Penn State, for letting us use your stuff.
Obligatory, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have your script, your crew, you got all the equipment, and I think the last big piece are the actors, right? You got to find those perfect people to just fill the roles with life. What is your process for finding those people?
Well, this was the first time I've actually held auditions, and that was probably one of my favorite parts of this whole process, because the way I was thinking about it, people are coming into a room to try and impress you, and I don't know, it gives you power in the situation, which is not something I did take advantage of, but it was something I did play with a little bit. You would know, you were there.
I auditioned for sure.
Yeah, and you got the part. I gotta say, specifically for the main character, I was looking for somebody who could be awkward but still charming. The new boyfriend, I was looking for someone just charming. Just charming. No awkwardness, he's cool. But when it comes to just in general, again, someone easygoing, easy to work with, someone you could see yourself spending a lot of time with.
Well, Jack, we do have to wrap it up, but I did want to ask you one final question.
Alrighty.
As a director, as a filmmaker, what would you say to people who are looking to get into it themselves? The person who wants to go out there and make their own movie?
Honestly, just do it. The more you do it, the better you get at it. My niche throughout my life creatively has been drawing, and I've done maybe a couple 100,000 drawings, and that's the only reason I could claim to be even remotely good at it. So the more you do, the better you get, and that's how it's going to be with with anything you take on.
That's some great advice. Yeah. Well, Jack, thank you so much for being here and sharing all your expertise.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, up next, Mariana and Jace will bring you the latest news from across the nation. Stay tuned.